Because listen closely, your burnout isn't because you're doing too much. It's because too much of what you're doing doesn't align with what you believe in. What if you've been living in survival mode for so long that you don't really remember who you are without the hustle? What if the most important parts of you aren't actually lost? They're just hiding under the to-do lists and the exhaustion and the expectations. What lights you up is still there. I know you're craving change and new identity, adventure, purpose, but what you're really wanting is balance. Now, don't click away. I know that word is very overused. I'm not talking about the Pinterest kind of balance with perfect time blocking or a beautiful laid out planner or hustle disguised as self-care. What I'm talking about is a soul level alignment. Earlier this year, I did a podcast episode and I was interviewing a financial planner. He talked about how he's teaching his kids about good spending habits. For example, when they ask for something that isn't in the budget, he'll say, "We have the money for it, but we don't want to afford that." He wants them to understand that they have the ability, but it doesn't align with their financial mission. When you think of core values, I want you to think of currency. And then you can start asking, does this align with how I want to spend my time? And if it doesn't, your answer can be, I don't want to afford that. Because listen closely, your burnout isn't because you're doing too much. It's because too much of what you're doing doesn't align with what you believe in. It doesn't align with who you are at your core. Maybe you don't need to throw everything away and completely reinvent yourself. Maybe you just need to realign. Here are 3 really simple questions to help you start. When do I feel most like myself? What drains me even when it looks productive? How do I want to be remembered? Answering these will give you a really clear vision of where your values are. Here's the thing. You don't need a checklist or a fancy planner. You don't need more to-dos disguised as self-care. You need stillness and a little bit of space to listen. Because values aren't something that you invent. They're something that you remember. I'm Alicia, and this is what I'm calling House of the Found. It's a quiet place for finding what matters. If you like this content, I would love it if you would like and subscribe, and definitely say hi in the comments. Until next time, remember what matters and rebuild what fits.